After that great deal we just had. I mean, we had a very great deal. Shout out to Enrique Norman. Ron Redbird. Oseo, I see you. Not Grand Rising. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. We are about to talk with the chief. She's speaking on healing our nation. Chief Bluefeather will be speaking on healing our nation. Our trauma is real. Our trauma is real. See what we got here. Apologize about that. All right. Okay, we all loaded up. All right. Let me see. I'm getting on now, so we can get there. Get her right on in here. right. Everything's loaded up. We're about to get into it. Sure that it's on. Brandon Smith, Nino Watt fam. Want to make sure she can get in, get through. Alito, Baraka, Alito. What's up, relative? What's good with you? Glad you came on through. All right, I got everything worked out. She's coming on in. Just vibing, Brandon. Me too, man. It's been an awesome night. Just a great day all around. We got everyone coming in. I just talked to the chief. She's coming in now. So any second now, we will be on and running. And we're going to see how we're going to heal our nation. I'm ready for it. So while I wait on her, see if I can turn this up a little bit. All right, here she come. Pamela Hall. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Here we go. Alito.
Alito, greetings.
Greetings. How are you today?
How do I coach with other people?
Come on, what'd you say, Chief?
How do you share the, like, people been hitting me up, they know that we're having the trauma session tonight, and I think they wanted to get in on this healing, and I don't know how do I send them a link to this to listen.
Okay. We have. Let me see. The best way, the quickest way I can do this. All right. On YouTube, it's T.C.B, which is T.C.B. and then it's Take Care of Business. That's the name of the page we on, Take Care of Business. But if not, if they have Facebook, they can go to Crew Cut Bridges, where it's public. Anyone is able to see it. We have Chief Nicky Moore. We're screaming on his page. Meriwether Militant. We're screaming on that page. So I think probably the easiest one where everyone's in the chat right now would be T.C.B. I'm going to see if I can send you the link to your phone. Yeah, I'll send you a link to your phone real quick. You want me to send it to your phone?
What did you say?
You want me to send the link to your phone?
Sure, if you can do that. That way I can just copy and paste it.
All right, coming up right now.
Okay.
Don't take but a hot second. I had to figure out how I was going to do it. I forgot we have phones. Okay, here we go. All right. All right, now share this. Yeah, so we had a great build. That was a very nice build with your husband.
Give him thanks. That's cool. I got to hear the latter part of it. I wasn't here for the first part.
I told him I can talk with him all day. Okay, and
yeah.
All right, I just sent you the link to your phone so you can send it to everyone.
Okay, I'm going to do that. I just saw it. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to do it.
Oh, somebody sent the link to me. I moved too slow. They're like, here you go.
Okay, I sent it. Thanks so much.
All right. Come on, I see everybody's coming in. Halito to the chat. I see everyone. I see y'all. I see y'all out there. I want to say thank you all for coming out again. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Get this to go. All right. Everything's loaded up. So yeah, it's been a great day. The studio has been coming up. We have 3. Went from my one spot. Now we got I think like 6 strings now, 3 computers, 3 chairs, 3 people working at the same time. It's awesome. It's awesome. So we are really building over here. So I'm ready to get into this story. I gotta pull it up over here on my computer. Suicide rates for Aboriginal children twice that of white children. New data shows. This is WashingtonPost.com. You want me to read the report?
Sure. Yeah, I want to. Hopefully, this will be the beginning of the series of healing our nation and how we as Aboriginal people into the table trauma that does exist individually, in families, and as a collective. And of course, it is tied to our social status and position. And we'll talk about. I think we all kind of know the things that have traumatized or the type of events that do that, that are traumatizing to our communities. But I think what we need to have is some good, heartfelt conversations of what that trauma really looks like. What does it really mean? How is it actualized? How it manifests itself? How we can address it, as a community, individually, as families, and collectively, how we can help each other through our trauma. And not just traumas from the system, but I'm talking about trauma, period, in relationships, trauma in how we treat each other, trauma in how our children fare in schools. We have systematic trauma, we have family traumas, we have individual traumas, and we do have, mental illness is an issue in our communities. And sometimes it's like taboo. We don't like to talk about it. We act like it doesn't exist. And it's not that it's a bad thing, because, when we look at mental illness, and from our perspective, when we're able to get back into our indigenousness or walking more toward our Aboriginal lifestyle, and bring forth the healing and the indigenous healing, the cultural healing that we need, we realize that there are some aspects of our own mental illness that is misdiagnosed because we're not understood as a people. Because the narrative that we've been sold as us being just slaves from Africa, and we're always going to be slaves from Africa, we're always the outsiders, we're always this suspect class of people, that is also the same propaganda that is sold to those who care for us in the medical field, for those who care for us in social services, for those who teach our children. They, too, are caught in the propaganda, and that's what helps to prolong our trauma in an individual, family, in a community, in a societal way, is because how others have been duped and taught how to deal with us, which has been pretty much wrong. The approach has just not been the appropriate approach. We're not approached, and we're not taught, we're not medically examined from a perspective of being an indigenous Aboriginal people, where this is our homeland, and that we are dealing with particular social traumas, in addition to just living everyday our lives as individuals and families on top of that. So our trauma is compounded by a lot of issues. But I do think this is something that's been in my spirit for quite some time. And it's a part of what I do as a healer, a medicine woman, in our community. And I just wanted to hope that we can keep this series going so that we can make a safe place for our people to be able to say, hey, this has happened to me. Hey, this is happening to me. And we keep it safe, and we safeguard that, and so that people don't have to feel embarrassed, and they don't have to remain silent and isolated. Because that's why I think that when we look at some of these statistics tonight, they're not huge. There is some alarm in the fact that they are seeing some of our children are committing suicide, and that's something that even white practitioners are not used to seeing. And I'll go a little bit further into that, because we have a suicide training this past year, and some things are new, but it's interesting learning from the other side's perspective and how they see us. So that's where I'm hoping we can take this show to. Yes. So one thing, when I do speak, I like to always have next steps. It doesn't, I don't, I'm just not, we don't, no one has to worry that we're just going to talk about the problem and how dire it is and how terrible it is. We're going to walk away with some action steps. We're going to walk away with some concrete ways of how we can address our issues. We're going to look up some numbers. We're going to give out some numbers, places that people can call that are free, that are anonymous. I'm going to hopefully be able to share some tips with you that I learned and how to, when we're dealing with depression in our people, and when some of our people may have the warning signs of thinking about, hey, I can't do this anymore. What are some of those warning signs? What do they look like? And another part of this is hopefully that we can synthesize ourselves to be more sensitive and emotional with each other, so that we're not always, we too have become part of the problem because we put the hard face on, or we say, that's so and so, they just playing, or man, they ain't serious about that, or that's not real, or they just need to get off their butt, or they just need to do this, and that's not it. We have enough harshness out there dealing with the enemies and the enemies of the enemies. We as an Aboriginal people have a very high frequency, and we can use it for betterment of us, or we can also use it to help destroy ourselves, because we are really that strong with our enemies. So what I'm hoping to do is that while we're chasing down genealogy, we're chasing down our clans, and we're trying to figure out who we are, and that we also can deal with the spiritual side of us and the emotional side of us, and we can kind of help each other heal. Because the healing is going to start with us. It's not going to start out there. It has to start within us, within our circles. We have professional people within our circles that we can band together and have an Aboriginal healing panel where we can offer free services and we can have a 1-800 emergency call. Whatever our mind is set to do, we can do it. But I do think we do need to take trauma very seriously. It sometimes is a silent killer, and not just a killer in suicide, but it's a killer of relationships. It's a killer where we can't get any further than where we want to be because we're traumatized and we just don't know how to deal with it. You know, how many of us have very unhealthy relationships, with each other, or we have dysfunction with our kids. So, and we need to be honest. I think that's the thing, that we need to stop pretending like nothing bothers us. We're made of steel. No, we're not. We're strong, but we can be stronger when we're honest with each other. We just have to have a very honest dialogue with each other. And we can help each other. And that should be a framework, a part of any tribal group that's out here.
I think
any tribal group that's a nation, a tribe, these are things that we should be addressing within our people. So while we are we're fighting for our social, political rights, we also need to be working on what are the action steps we're taking for healing? Mentally, socially, physically, spiritually. That has to be just as equally important, because a healthy mind and healthy people are going to be able to take their land back and make things work and happen. But if we're getting the land and we're getting, we get all of a sudden we think there's this magic ticket that everything's going to turn around in our favor. Okay, but one of the comments I heard maybe the other show, what are we going to do with all of that if we're not dealing with the healing for ourselves? What are we going to do with it? If we're not healed within ourselves, then we're not going to be healthy in how we approach, the land and all the ideas and talents that we have, that we can be very successful as a collective. But we do have to deal with the mess that's within ourselves so that we can approach our redemption and our faith passage and right of return through healing. That's my little introduction.
That's a tough introduction. Hey, that was right on point. That's what everyone's looking for, is as a way to overcome what we realize, what we don't notice, what we're doing, basically. Or how we living. We're not noticing it because we're so caught up in it every day. A lot of us, like you say, don't even know we need to be healed, or don't know that we've been infected with this.
Exactly. And I think that we do a disservice to our men and to our young men when we don't, allow them to be able to express themselves, or give them safe places to say and be able to speak, and, have someone that they can tell when I'm not feeling right about something, or this is hurting me, this is bothering me. We got to stop raising our men up in this culture of don't be a punk. Just because if your son needs to cry it out, or if they need to get something off their chest, you need to make safe places for them to be able to do that, because your children, you know, everybody will take their aggression out and their feelings out somewhere.
Right.
It's gonna come somewhere. It could be, you know, in a sports way. I'm over aggressive in sports. It could be in the way you're relating to the opposite sex. It could be I become an introvert. Some kind of way when we're hurting, it's going to come out somewhere. So we might as well be real with each other and just create safe places for our children and ourselves to be able to talk and love on each other and not judge each other if we need to get things off our chest and if we're not feeling right about something.
Right. That's right. We have to get to that level, but it's like we're stuck in what's cool and what's not cool, what's lame. Oh, I'm not going to say that that's lame. Or people like, oh, he in his feelings because he spoke what was on his mind, or different things like that. Men don't cry and different things like that. It's just so many stereotypes on who we supposed to be instead of us just being who we supposed to be at the end of the day.
Correct. And I don't, and let's take it to the other side. I'm not saying, you know, when we open up these doors to allow our wounds to be exposed, you know, it's not about, oh, we just want to dwell on what's negative. Let's forget all that. That's not what we're saying here. Because first of all, I think that we are very resilient people. That even the statistics, and one of the things I was told by the chaplain, I think he works with the armed forces as well. I think he trains police officers and armed forces. I think his last name is, I'll have to pull him back up because it just slipped my mind. But he was
right, the one that had the class about the suicide, the brother that had the classes about the suicide. Okay.
I'm sorry?
No, I was trying to confirm what you were saying. You was talking about the brother who had the classes on the suicide?
Yes. Well, one thing he shared with the audience is that what prompted him to say Georgia, because this is from Georgia. He said, what would be the safest place or the least amount of suicides in the state of Georgia? And everybody looked at each other. He said Clayton County.
What? That's the
Clayton
safest
County,
place
has the least amount, and they would say one of the safest places to live as far as, you know, not having, you know, high rates of suicide, very low rates, if any.
Right.
Okay. And then I think Dalton, okay, but he asked the people, now he was a white man, and he asked the people straight out. He said the most population of people that live in Clayton County are what he called African Americans, so our people. So he said, what do you think it is that among the black community that this is not a phenomenon that frequently occurs? So people are trying to get out answers. I kind of kept quiet because I really wanted to hear what everybody was saying. But one of the top reasons is I know we have resilience. And that's kind of taboo with us. In a collective. That doesn't mean that individuals haven't thought about it. It doesn't mean that some of us may have, you know, been on the edge of it. But I pulled a PDF, and I'll put this on our site. This is from the American Association of Suicide Ideology. It's called the African American Suicide Fact Sheet, based on 2016 data. It was published in 2018. But, you know, I changed the word African. You know, they're talking about us, the Aboriginals. But it says one of the protective factors that we do have is having strong religious belief systems, networks of kinship, ethnic pride, and community support. So there are some positives that they kind of see in ourselves that we're not, even though they socially abuse us, criminally abuse us, educationally neglect us, we still are not committing suicide nowhere near the rate that the white population is.
Nowhere near.
No. Mm-mm. We don't suicide like that, which is good. So that's why I don't want everybody to talk about, oh my God, all of a sudden it's a national issue. However, one thing he did say is that they are seeing a slight increase in the number of black males that are
That's,
committing suicide.
and is there a reason, or do they have any type of study show? Is it dealing with not being able to provide? Is that a reason?
It says some of the links on this PDF, the article I think you pulled, we can read a little bit from that one. And the other one, I don't think I posted that one. It says, why are black children killing themselves? You know, the news is always going to
Okay,
they're always going to over-embellish it. But
go ahead. I don't like the word black, so I'll change it for
yeah,
Aboriginal.
but that's just the title of their article. So I'm going to have to
I was letting you know I'll be sobbing. But it says suicide rates for Aboriginal children twice that of white children. New data shows. Is that the one?
Yeah, you can read that one if you want to read. Yeah, if you want to read that one, and then I can talk about the risk factors. If you want to go ahead and read off that article, you can. That's from the Washington Post.
Okay, this is the Washington Post. And before I get started, it's kind of crazy how they hit me with the African American on one sentence, and the next sentence they hit with you with the black. I'm like, come on, can't y'all just make up y'all mind? But we got N. Jones.
Yeah, let's replace all those misnomers. We'll just replace them with Aboriginal children.
Yeah, it's crazy how they use the misnomers, but they switch them up on different lines, and I'm like, okay, which one is it? Y'all tripping. But N. Jones said, peace, bros and sis, and she said, love and Chief Blue. So she's giving you some she's giving a shout out to you. That's N. Jones in the chat.
Pete, I'm gonna try to pull my computer right now, just on my phone. I'm gonna try to pull it.
Oh, no problem. While you loading that up, I'm gonna read this article, okay?
Okay.
Okay, it says Aboriginal children are taking their lives at roughly twice the rate of their white counterparts. According to the new study that shows a widened gap between the two groups, the 2001 to 2015 data published Monday in the journal JAMA Pediatrics confirmed a pattern first identified several years ago when researchers at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Ohio found that the rate of suicides for black children, Aboriginal children, ages 5 to 12 exceed that of young whites. The results were seen in both boys and girls. Although suicide is rare among young children, the latest findings reinforce the need for better research into the racial disparities. Lead author Jeffrey Bridge said Monday, suicide is one of the leading causes of death for older children and adolescents in the United States. We can't assume any longer that suicide rates are uniformly higher in white individuals than black, said Bridge. And epidemiologist who directs the Center for Suicide Prevention and Research at the Columbus Hospital. This is the age-related disparity, and now we have to understand the underlying reasons. Most of the previous research has largely concerned white suicide, so we don't even know if the same risk and protective factors apply to black youth. Like, they ain't even been studying them at all. Historically, suicide rates in the United States have been higher for whites than blacks across all age groups. That remains the case for adolescents aged 13 to 17, according to the new study. White teens continue to have a 50% higher rate of suicide than Aboriginal teens. Overall, between 1999 and 2015, more than 1,300 children ages 5 to 12 took their own lives in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Those numbers translate into an average of one child 12 or younger dying by suicide every 5 days. The pace has actually accelerated in recent years. That's what the CDC statistics indicate. Now, this is what kills me. How did CDC get a whiff of the study? And what are they adding to the food for the study? So if we added this, we had an increase in suicides. And, You know what I'm saying? Little things like that. CDC is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's crazy. That just threw me right there. I couldn't even get through the story without saying something about that.
Which paragraph are you on?
Huh?
Which paragraph are you on?
Let's see. We are talking about the overall. Let me see. That's let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on the 6th paragraph. It's over a little picture. It says overall between 1999 and 2015, more than 1,300 children. Right, and it says according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What are they prevention? Another outbreak of what?
Well, see, when they start publishing these kind of articles, you gotta understand we must be we're like one of the probably the hottest what do you call it? Study samples in the world, because of so many things that they have done to destroy our racial memory, destroy us economically, destroy our family-based structure, destroy our spirituality. Yet we're still here. And we are still thriving, even though I think that the collective, we're ill. In many ways, like we don't eat in the best way that we need to eat. We're not being educated the way we're supposed to be educated. So we're socially sick. But when they start publishing articles, we need to pay attention. It's not that it's bad as the way they're trying to say it, but obviously they're seeing a change in the trend.
Wait a minute, you said something. You said we're socially sick.
Yeah, we're socially sick as a collective. I mean, our kids are still going to public schools being taught.
I believe it. Because we don't know how to talk to no one, because we're punished for being ourselves anywhere we go. So if the white boy calls your child a Negro in school, and then you get a call because your son beat up this white kid, and the only actions is towards your son, we have a problem, because now you telling them, look, you can say whatever you want to say. If they get in their emotions and they act out, they're going to get in trouble. So it makes you want to, now your child cannot, now you have to take the abuse.
Right. So I think that when I say we're socially sick as a collective, it's because we're still under the paradigm of colonialism. We're still living under the threat of a hostile, occupying government. We're not free just to be Aborigine. I'm talking about as a collective. I know that there are groups that do it. There are people who do it individually. There are some groups are being successful, in their own isolation. But I'm talking about as a collective. We don't, because it's not in the media. It's not being taught in schools. You can look at your government officials and look at who we're governed by. Our faces are not there in an indigenous way. So that's what I mean by us being socially sick, is because we're not living in the best optimal, healthy conditions of an Aboriginal people. We're not all living off the land. We're not delving into our native holistic practices of healing, which is really, I do want to talk about the good parts that we change after some of the statistics. But when they start publishing articles like this, I just think we need to pay attention. I just think we need to pay attention.
More.
Yeah, we do need to pay attention to it more, because on a ground level, we have been doing human rights work and advocacy, and I've been doing family intervention sessions with families. Mental illness does exist among us. It does. And we have a lot of families in small communities that are in trauma, whether they're dealing with socioeconomic issues or they have children with special needs. They have disabled spouses, disabled parents. I mean, there's a lot going on in our community.
Right.
There's a lot going on. And a lot of times, small rural towns is the worst because the access to health care.
Yeah, it's very rare. Uh-oh. You went out somewhere. Anybody know where she went? Oh, it just stopped talking. Oh, must drop call. She's gonna call back. Yeah, it was a drop call.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you good. I know how it be. Come on.
And I think that when they start putting things in the news about us, we got to look at it two ways. One, propaganda, they like to get us all emotional, right? But the other part, these little articles like this kind of slip by us because we don't make a big deal about it. It's not really in the media, but when they kind of slip these little articles in, we need to kind of pay attention to it. We need to wake up and look around in our own communities and wake up and look at what are we looking at when we're looking at children. Because mental health issues or just going through trauma and depression, a lot of times people are suffering that in silence. They suffer, a lot of us, I mean, I'm quite sure some of us can admit, we suffer in silence.
Yeah. A lot of us have endured a lot.
And we try to mask and we try to hide our warning signs. Sometimes we think we're good at, we become good, I think, as a people just hiding our warning signs because, it's not expected of us. No, we can't. It's like when we go to the doctor. I've had so many personal experiences going to a doctor where I'm not treated with empathy and care because I'm a strong black woman. They act like you some type of workforce. So when you go in there and tell them you're not feeling well, I've been patient profiled with insurance. I'm supposed to be a so-called educated woman, but I've been patient profiled because they already have a stigma that, we're made to work hard. Oh, we're just pretending. I've literally, we have some cases right now we're dealing with where we've been, members of our nation been patient profile, where we've had to sit at the table with the president of the hospital and say, look, this cannot keep going on in our community because you're killing our people. Yeah. I mean, literally.
They get rich off of you and don't have to catch you up on the back end. Yeah, of course.
You're dismissing people out. You're just discharging us out of hospital. I was discharged out of the hospital in 2016. I went in there doubled over. Now, most of the time, I'm really good with my own self-care, holistic, can take care. But I came back from Texas from doing my last residency right before I was finishing my dissertation and everything. And I came back, and all of a sudden, my lower back, and I started getting this extra pain. I said, darn it, I wonder if I have a UTI. So, I started treating myself. I was doing good. And all of a sudden, I started hitting these fevers and bad pain. I said, okay, I done took it too far. I'm going to have to go get some medical attention. So my son, I'm doubled over. And my son is carrying me to the car. I go in, and I had an African doctor. Now, that's a whole other thing we could talk about, why you have foreigners who are over us in the psychological field, the medical field, and how they patient profile us based off of what? Propaganda and what they've been taught negatively about us. And she gave me, I had to put urine in a cup. She checked it, and something in my numbers was really high. You know what this crazy woman said to me? Oh, it's probably how you wiped yourself. I looked at her and I said, lady, I'm a mother, daughter. I know how to wipe myself. I'm a grown behind woman. That's what she said to me. Now, I'm doubled over. I'm doubled over, and my daughter and my niece are looking at her like she crazy, like you gonna release her like that? So she said I had a UTI, probably a bladder infection, gave me some antibiotics, a couple of meds, but I'm still doubled over. So I had my sister girl on the phone from Washington. They always tell her like, you're not letting her out the hospital. So long story short, they ambulanced me to another dump of a hospital, but I guess a little bit, one step higher and upgrade. I had sepsis. I went sepsis. This lady's gonna send me home. I might be dead today. I was sepsis. Wow. I was already sensitive when I was already at that level. My skin was black. I couldn't eat. This woman was gonna send me home, but she talking about the test might have been wrong because I didn't wipe myself right.
Yeah, they just make up anything though.
Yeah, and that's like a medical apartheid. So what I'm saying is, when dealing with us, why when they say black people don't like to go, or that's the quote, Aborigines don't like to go to doctors. This is part of the reason why a lot of our stuff does go undetected. It's because of the treatment that we get. My husband, same thing to him at the other hospital. This man walked in with 100-something. He had 3 strokes, and we didn't realize until that last side of the bed. Took this man home, and he had 35% of an artery. We come to find out that was blocked. All they had to do was look at his cholesterol levels and look at some of the blood work, and they would have known. And then he wound up with a full-blown stroke anyway on the operating table. Come to find out the surgeon, this man cuts off black folks' legs, and a lot of people had heart attacks on the table with him. I'm like, this is the type of care that we get. So part of the reason that they said when they were, according to the fact sheet, some of our risk factors is lack of proximity to services, lack of insurance coverage, mental health stigma, and distrust of doctors and medical establishments. And I can see why. And in rural areas, it's really hard for our people to be connected to good services where you don't even have to worry about this one telling this one and that one finding out your business because so-and-so was cousin with so-and-so. And that's a problem, too, because these little close, small network rural towns, everybody knows your business, so there's no privacy. And I think that has happened.
They said that, though, because, like, at the hospital, they'll say, don't go to the hospital, boy. You better go somewhere else.
Yeah.
They already know. They say don't even pee in a cup in there.
My daughter just went to the hospital because she was having a hard time breathing. Chief Cat just went to the hospital. They gave her some cough medicine, someone diagnosed her with a cough. I said, girl, go on to the regular doctor, go to the emergent care. She had to leave town. She had bronchitis. They had to give her a shot on the spot. I'm like, this is the kind of stuff. This is why people don't like to go to medical. And I'm quite sure people in your audience probably have had similar experiences or know of relatives that have died because of negligent care and patient profiling and not giving us suitable care because of how we're looked upon as a people.
Sound about right.
So that's one of the factors is that we don't have good access to services, and a lot of times it's money. We have, to go to counselors and to go to therapists and things like that. That's a lot of times those are called special. That even if you have insurances, those co-pays are higher, and if you don't have insurance that covers those type of services, then people don't get it.
All the way.
So those are other, issues or risk factors. Just having plain old access to health care. For to keep fighting about the Obamacare or not having Medicaid and doing that because it kills people. And it takes away from the quality of people's life and why people can be sitting around with all type of ailments and you're not being diagnosed properly because of lack of care, limited care, and not have competent care.
We got somebody say they in South Carolina. I guess they're in the hospital right now. He said he's snapping on them right now.
Yeah, and that's why when we start talking about some of the steps that some things that we've been working on to try to help bring social change, and we'll talk about, that's why it's good to work in groups and have advocates. Start grouping up and teaming up, that when these people are dealing with you, they're going to learn today. You're not just dealing with me. You're dealing with my family. You're going to deal with my nation or my tribe or my clan or some other caring person in my community that's going to watch what you're doing, that you just can't get away with neglecting me and not treating me right. Because all of these places have codes of ethics. Doctors have codes of ethics. Teachers have codes of ethics. People in the justice department, everybody has some type of code of ethics. And they break them all the time if you don't correct them in their spot.
Well, yeah, they all have a code. We had our own code once upon a time. I don't know what happened.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
No, I said I was going on what you were saying. You was talking about how they have a code and like the different teachers have a code and have everybody have a code, like how they work by it. I said we used to have a code as well.
Mhm. So, and then going back to our children, a lot of times if a child has a nasty teacher and that child has to deal with that teacher all year long, or a teacher that the child knows don't like me, that teacher, you got hidden closet racists in these schools. You got people who should not even be teaching children just based on what they do sometimes in their personal life and what their views are about you. If your child comes home and tells you that so-and-so yelled in my face or did that, inquire about it. Don't always just say, yo, you just better go to school and respect so-and-so. Yes, I've always taught my children to have self-respect, first of all, and I'm from old school. You do respect your elders and respect adults. But I had a case in point with my youngest son, the one I think you had him on the show yesterday. I'm very proud of him, coming out of his shell and speaking up. But Kai is like cool like a cucumber, quiet. He doesn't really make waves. And he's never been a child I had to yell at. In fact, if you do yell at him, you're going to send him into himself. He's not going to engage you. So he had the Aboriginal teacher of color. Oh, she was the neck twisting type, up in your face, blowing off stuff. And when he came home and told me about it, I said, okay. He kept talking about this teacher all the time. She don't like me. She don't like me. So finally I had to address her. But she was shocked that I just didn't automatically tell my son to bend down and make sure you're doing this. I did tell him to respect her and respect yourself and be respectable. But I told her, I said, ma'am, you don't have to yell at him. I said, he don't respond to that. I said, I really don't have to yell at him. If you need him to do something, there's a way to do it. But being up in his face, that doesn't work.
Not getting it done. That's not going to get it done.
Angry. But I had to check them, like, no, this is not the way you treat my child. Defend your children. Don't always go
well, I can see.
Be telling you, because these kids suffer. That's another thing that our children suffer silently from, where they have to go to school and behave and mind their teacher. And sometimes I've heard how teachers speak to children sometimes.
Yeah, see what it is. If a child is scared of his parents and his parents is pushing for this child to have these high grades, and they come home with decent, like just say D or C grades, and now the parent is at home beating on the child don't know how to tell the parent that the teacher don't like them, and then that's how your scenario go. You wake up the next morning, now your child done killed himself because he got to deal with the teacher and the parents at the same time. He felt like it's a no-win situation, and then boom, boom, there we go. There's something that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and, take your child's side. I don't care. Take their side anyway. Give your child a benefit of the doubt. Unless you know your child will do certain. We all know our children. Like, I've never had a teacher really tell me something that surprised me about my child, because I know my child. I know which one's going to mouth back. I know which ones are going to give you a hard time. I knew which ones are going to be quiet. They ain't going to say nothing to you. I know which one would never ask you a question. He could be struggling in that room. He's just not going to ask you a question. I had to get on a teacher about that with my other son. I said, you've been knowing him for 2 years. He's not going to raise his hand and ask you a question because he gets embarrassed. So you, as a teacher, need to adapt and mold yourself and come at him a different way. I've done it. That's the type of educator I was. That's why I was able to reach any type of child. Most of the time, I don't know a child that I had not been able to reach, because I'm willing to meet you where you're at. So help our children relieve of that mental stress that they have dealing with these schools until you can get your kids out. Listen to them.
Yeah, you have to. And it's
it's
just like you were saying, the Aboriginal teacher was hard. And I was just sitting here wondering, I said, I bet you it was only a few Aboriginal teachers in the schools. Am I correct?
Say that again.
where the Aboriginal teacher was all in his face and yelling and hooping and hollering and stuff. Was he in a predominantly white school?
I would say.
Talking about for the teachers.
I would say probably more. It was more white. I would say it'd be more. There was less people of color as far as teachers. I think with the children, almost not quite 50-50, but maybe a little bit more white children. But it wasn't like overly white.
I got you. Because what happens is we catch a lot of Aboriginals trying to adapt to other people's views, ways, and likings. Either it's police force or anywhere where you're working with a lot of other people and you're the lesser ones, you tend to start trying to secure your place in so-called society, and you'll be out of place before you know it. You'll be bashing your own kind before you know it.
Yeah. And guess what, though? But that's also trauma and traumatic for those teachers. Because I've seen good teachers who just, I can't win here. I can't do it. And see, I'm a little more renegade. So the way I dealt with, I was actually psychologically harassed right up out of my job from 2016 when I had finished my, I plan on going to a whole different field, with my doctor as a doctor of human services anyway, because I was, my area of expertise is also dealing with school decriminalization, how you can decriminalize your schools to be and have, school climate can be much more improved and you have less instances of disparaging discipline. I did a lot of work in schools volunteer-wise while I was getting my doctorate to help our children and children, period, to be able to buffer, between children and other teachers, and how can we just have a learning environment that's more conducive to love and learning as opposed to it being, over the top and over disciplined. I worked on those kind of things, so I expected I would be different. But I actually was psychologically harassed at a job for about 2 years straight because the white girls on the team were jealous about who I was and a lot of the things I did outside the classroom. So it's like as soon as I was doing criminalization at the beginning of the school year, they were just coming for me. Just doing mean street stuff. I mean, at one point you got to a cry. The other side of me wanted to just my work. So I wound up leaving that position, and they were also. I sort of worked in the building with me. They tried to sabotage her doing the beauty group that we would have, and they were cruel to her. I mean, we go through stuff on the job. This is a traumatizing people. We deal with trauma all the time, jobs, in our family life, in our socially, in our communities.
So what is the first step to
conditioned not to talk about it. We're conditioned not to tell.
Oh yeah, we conditioned.
When you're being harassed, that's horrible too by adult bullies.
That's right. So what would you say?
Bullies.
What would be the first step to healing trauma in the home?
Creating sacred. Well, okay. Before you get to creating something, it's changing our lens and how we look at each other. We need to turn up the love volume. We need to have a warm heart for our children. We need to have a warm heart for our significant others. We need to have a warm heart for our elders and extended families who we may interact with. We need to love. We need to care about each other. We need to set aside time the craziness of work and school and say, how are you doing? How was your day today? Establish family circle time to talk. How is it going?
You mean put the phone down time?
Say it again.
You mean time to put the phone down?
Yeah, man, get off of these. That's another thing that keeps us in isolation and can turn into loneliness is that we're spending too much time in individual cells.
Chief.
Kids on this phone, the
Chief.
parents on that
Hey,
phone,
Chief.
this one's on that computer. You're not really talking to each other. Take time to just talk to each other.
Chief, do you got yourself playing on a speaker or something in the background?
Is it like a lot of static or something?
It's reverbing. They can hear it reverbing. That's why I was asking.
Okay. Is it like that now? Because I don't have the computer up at all. I'm
Oh
muted
no,
that.
you sound good.
Okay, I'm so sorry, everybody.
Oh, you good? Someone said,
start
Raymond.
talking to each other. Family circles.
Right. Raymond
We started
Baptiste.
to meet at the medicine wheel. We started to meet at our fire circle, and that has become a great place of healing for our family and any community members that would come for services. It was a healing circle.
You think?
Because at the fire circle, everybody has an equal voice and free to speak before the ancestors and how you really, things that are going with you. And we have to listen. That's the thing too. And I've had to learn it too because I'm a talker and I'm a teacher, but I have to learn to listen.
That sounds like A blood type. You A blood type? Chief? Chief like uh-oh. Chief, did we lose you? Oh, yeah, we lost her. So really she's been dropping gems about the trauma that we have. A lot of us have trauma. Do not recognize it. That's the reason why we cannot talk to each other in families. She hit it right on the head. She hit it right on the head. And, here we go. I'm back. I got you. Come on.
Okay.
So, like I was saying while you had went out, I was just repeating a lot that you were saying, that a lot of the trauma we have, we just don't acknowledge it. We stuff it inside. We live. We don't talk about it, not even amongst the people that's closest to us. And that's how this thing starts to become a real trauma.
Yes.
Well, one, we haven't been taught to how to talk to each other because, like you said, we've been taught and conditioned to keep secrecy of certain things that we should be able to let out.
Oh, yeah. Secrecy is big, I believe, in our community. And, I mean, to a certain extent, no. Does everybody need to know your business? No. But within your own walls, you can have secrecy within your own. Like, you just can't talk about that. You just can't talk about. I mean, there's a lot of trauma within ourselves. There's incest that happens within our family. We're gonna keep it real. Let's not pretend. There's molestation that happens within families. There's incest that happens within families. There's domestic violence that happens within families. These things happen within our family. We ain't gonna sit here and lie about it. Why lie about it? It's the truth. So I understand that some things people don't want to always have to talk about, but somewhere along the line, we've got to break down these walls and barriers, between ourselves.
All day. And that's the hardest part. Acknowledging that you have an issue. Because when everybody going to say, oh, I'm fine. I'm getting that money. I'm getting that check. I'm fine. I'm secure.
Yeah, and it's not always fine. It's not. And the first problem, I like that, Sister Pamela Hall, the first problem is with us. We have to change with each other. See, once we start changing our own, and we can just do our own exercise of mindset. Change your mindset in how we look at each other, how you look at your brothers and your sisters, how do you look at your children, how do you see yourself? Stop beating yourself up.
What about when you look at somebody?
Everybody is a unique creation and a unique reflection of the divine universe. Each and every one of us has purpose, and each and every one of us is unique in the scheme of life. We are a unique reflection. We are beautiful. We are stars. We are brights. And we got to start looking at ourselves differently. Accept our beauty for what it is. Accept it in its rawness, in its realness, the way we wear our hair. Stop conforming to that bullshit. Excuse my language, but that's what it is. Stop conforming to bullshit. Be who you are. There's only one Bluefeather. That's me. Nobody gonna be able to do me better than me. But I'm still learning who me is and coming out of my shell. We have to accept yourself for who you are. And if you need to make changes, then make changes. But stop beating yourself up. Stop trying to measure yourself according to this crazy behind system that's going to hell in a handbasket. Be who you are.
Someone said we suffer from...
That's the beginning of us recapturing our greatness as a people, is to understand the divine beauty that is within us that makes us the people of truth.
Are we hiding from it or running from it?
Yeah, because we've been conditioned to not look in that mirror, because we've been conditioned to look at so-called superstars, and we've been conditioned to look at these commercials and all this other media messaging as a measuring bar of beauty, as a measuring bar of what we should be to be acceptable. See, something came to my mind today. I said, you know what? They keep playing with us about not wanting to recognize us. The day is coming when we're not going to recognize them. What's that going to look like? When we're not recognizing you and your craziness, then no, that's not, you don't represent beauty for me.
That's right.
You don't represent beauty for me. You don't represent what my love and my relationship with my man or my woman looks like for me. You don't represent how we connect and love on our children. They condition us to beat our kids. They condition us to be hard on each other. If I'm hard on me, then I can keep them from being hard on you. Man, that is all psychological warfare. I'm not saying we could just be nilly-willy and do anything, but we do not have to be abusive towards each other. How do you talk to your man? How do you talk to your woman? How do you talk to your mother? How do you talk to your mom and your auntie? How do you talk to your dad? How do you speak to your elders? How do you talk to your children? How do children speak to their parents? How do children speak to each other? It starts with us. How do we see each other? It just starts with simple practices. Let's not curse at each other.
Stop calling each other.
And I got a hot mouth. I'm gonna be honest with you. I keep it real with you. I got a hot mouth. I had to tell myself, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But let's not curse at each other.
That's right.
Right?
Totally. That's right.
Let's look at the love we do have, not the love we don't have. Who's in your family tree around you? Because I remember telling one of the sisters in our community, and she's kind of still caught in a religion with Jesus and God, and I was praying. I said, girl, God is who shows up. God is who shows up. I don't know what else to tell you. You may pray to that white man on your wall, but who showed up with you at court today? God is who shows up. And start showing up. God is who shows up. Who shows up with you at school? Who shows up when you're in need? Who shows up when you got to go to court? Who shows up when you're on your last dollar? Who is showing up for you? Because that is the spirit of humanity. That is God. That is alive in each of us.
That's it.
That's it. These are simple principles. This is not, you don't need a book for this. I'm not going to write no how-to book. I ain't sending all that out. We don't need a how-to book. This is our change of heart for us to realize that we are traumatized as a people, first of all, because we're not living in our natural state, and we are under hostile colonial occupation as a collective. And then we have to deal with just being who we are, just being normal people. We're hurting. We're tired. We're weary. Some of us are broke. Some of us are brokenhearted. And we just have to be honest about that. and cry when you need to cry. And if somebody needs to cry on your shoulder, then damn it, let them cry on your daggone shoulder. Stop saying, "Oh, get up off me." Don't be like that. Have more
I don't want
compassion.
to hear that. Don't bring that Ryan.
Yeah, don't like it's almost like you're gonna catch a disease from somebody if they're crying or they really need to tell you And I'm not saying
that negativity around me.
Become crutches for people, but sometimes we have to take that arm and walk. It's a native way. It's an indigenous way. It's called walking with you. That's the beauty of what we do at Coosa Nation. That I don't care. We're just a grassroots, ordinary, normal people. Mothers, fathers, brothers, cousins, whatever. But one of the things that we do is that we will walk with you. We're turning human services.
Go do this. Y'all go do this. And then this is what you do. And come back and tell us how it worked out for you. No, you're going to go with them.
Oh, no. We will walk with you. We're still walking with people and clients that we have, and they're our brothers and sisters. But we also walk with them until they evolve in their own critical spiritual consciousness, where now they're speaking up for themselves, and now they're becoming an advocate. See, that's the beauty of when you're walking with someone, not to be a crutch, but you want to help them get to that place where now you are a helper. Because when we were devastated and traumatized and pushed out, forced out of our property and all that, shoot, the people that we have been helping, they became help for us. They were like, "You don't leave us. You guys are good for you. You do these things. Let us help you." But you know what they told us? Because we never met people like you who were willing to walk with us all the way.
Walk. Y'all hear that? Walk. One step in front of the other.
I will walk with you, even if your feet tied and our feet can be tied together. But I'm gonna walk with you. I'm gonna go up in this courtroom and face this ugly behind judge with you, and they're gonna have to stare at both of our faces, or all three of our faces. I'm gonna go up in this school meeting with you, and this teacher's pointing fingers, and I'm gonna tell you, "I don't sign that paper because that's wrong." I'm gonna tell you what your rights are, and when you do that, that's empowering because that's also a part of healing.
Come on.
I will walk with you. I will share your burden.
Love it.
Yes, your child can stay with me. Yes, we'll help you with homeschooling. What do you want to do? What do you need? Yes, I'll go to the doctor's office with you. Oh, I'm scared. I don't know how to ask the doctor questions. Okay, I'll go with you.
That's right. You have to have somebody with you. 'Cause I remember taking a young man to school so he can clear, so he can train. And the doctor was talking all sideways. Was like, "Oh, does he what type of toothpaste do he use?" I was like, "We don't use the fluoride." She was like, "Oh, he needs some tap water because it has fluoride in it. It makes his teeth hard and keep his breath from stinking." I'm like, "Lady, you don't get up out of here with that."
And stick up for each other.
That's right.
Like my husband and I were in Walmart the other day, and I felt this spirit. Now I'm learning to ignore them. I knew she was nasty, and she didn't want to really move out of my way. She almost tried to bump me. But my husband was like, "No, I saw that. That was rude, and that was disgusting." Now, I didn't want him to, I didn't want to go off and her like that. But, it felt good because my husband protected me. And he saw that you were being nasty to me and said, "Oh, excuse me, no. I saw what you just tried to do." Now I'm not saying go out here and be crazy, but you know what? The more we start speaking up for each other, they're going to push back. Like we got another a case in with a sister dealing with a, really, oh my gosh, this defects case is crazy. That's all I can reveal about it. But I don't have a problem. I'm going to write the judge. Yep, I'm going to call the clerk and say, "Did you get my facts?" They may not want to deal with us. They may push back against us, but guess what? I've seen in the spirit realm, we're pushing back against them, and we do have the edge. And I'm trying to tell you, what's going to push us over the top is how we treat each other and what we start doing for each other. Irregardless of what they claim they're going to give us. Okay, if we still fighting for our land, we're going to still fight for our land, but we still going to help feed each other while we're doing it. My nephew, when we had lights go out, man, he made 30 plates of Jamaican food and just gave it out for free because people have been without lights for about a week. This was last year, and they didn't care about, some of the little neighborhoods where we were, and while other places were, their lights got put on and stuff like that, but some of these neighborhoods were neglecting, didn't get that. Sure, we were just like bumping. We gonna make some snacks. We gonna see if some people need some wipes and stuff. And we reached out and we did a little small outreach. It's just little things. It don't have to be big things where people trying to get notoriety. Oh, I want to be on TV and camera. Bump that camera. What are you willing to do when there is no camera? What are you willing to do behind closed doors where people ain't gonna see you? Because who cares about that? But you know who sees you? It's the people who help.
That's right. They see you. But my
Yep.
take is, I'm tired of seeing the crime and folks getting knocked off on TV. Let me see something good. Let me see somebody helping somebody. I want to see something good. Make me feel good when I see it. That's what I like to see.
Because that's the epitome of what I always hear this word nation building. I've been hearing that word nation building since my Hebrew Israelite days, and then it was the conscious movement days. I've always heard this word nation building, nation building. But nation building is not, before it is a physical thing, it starts with who you are as people. You want to build a nation? Start walking with folks. Start changing your attitude. Start looking out. Start feeding each other, sharing meals, sharing rides, sharing burdens. That's how you build a nation. Because when you do that, now you build trust. Now I can trust that, yeah, we can go get this land. We can go do this together. Because you've shown me that you got me. And I've shown you that I got you. That's really the root of nation building.
That's dope. That's dope.
This nation building thing is just, we got to build a nation. We need this land. We got to do this. But if you don't have common respect, courtesy, trust with each other and willing to share burdens, how are you going to build anything? You're not. You're not going to build anything without trust. You're not going to build anything with people who you're not showing and proving.
That's it. You're not showing and proving. Come on.
So that's where we're at. We have trauma that exists among us on a personal level. We have trauma individually. We have trauma dealing with family. We have trauma just dealing in this world, period. That's one of the things that was in the article. It was the second article. It says, what's behind the higher suicide rate among Aboriginal children? And like I said, let's be careful of how they're trying to portray it. But obviously, they see a little twist in the trend. But one thing that Dr. Lawson, Dr. William Lawson, he's a psychologist. I don't really know what his ethnic background is because I didn't look him up. But I just thought some of his little comments were interesting. Because he said that he's a psychology professor at the University of Texas, Austin Dale Medical School, and he says suicide studies conclusions are to be expected given the socioeconomic problems in Aboriginal communities. It's access to care. It's the usual factors that lead to poor health outcomes for Aboriginal Americans. Those include, he says, limited resources, increased risk of homelessness, being unprepared, risk of violence, all the factors that are known to be important in our community and how they're impacting young people. So that's something for us to do too, is protecting each other.
That's it.
And sometimes you got to protect each other from each other. And realize that if there are bad elements or elements in our communities or within our own family that are not good, we need to address that. Don't let people in your own family, in your community, get away with abusing, people in the family they're doing. I mean, how many of our girls and boys have been molested by family members? And we know it happened, but nobody says nothing about it. Oprah Winfrey talks about that all the time.
Family secret.
Family secrets. And I mean, those family secrets are painful. But even if it means, if you know it happened, then that means put an extra arm of protection around those children. We got to be protected. Stop pretending we don't know this stuff has happened. We had a young girl that we were working with, at least recently we tried to work with. I mean, so much trauma. There's rape in our communities. It's rape in our communities. I mean, I can't. How many young girls I've met just in have been raped
they
by a family member?
That's right. Jamil,
I mean,
Jamil.
if you know some of the young girls, and you know what happened, they got stigmatized because they got mad because one of the family was called the police and told on them. Oh, why you got so and so in trouble? You ain't saying nothing about that grown ass man raping that little girl, your baby cousin, but you mad because now he in trouble for it. See, we can't be righteous people if we're going to expect white men to be accountable for doing it, but we don't even hold ourselves accountable to doing it. Now, if we knew a white man raped somebody in our family, we all on it. We crazy everywhere. Then you find out cousin Lulu did it, cousin Lulu done it. Then you want to hide. Nobody got nothing to say. You want to hide it.
Right.
That's not cool, because you have to think about the trauma that has caused the victim to sit around all these family members. You wonder why sometimes family members don't want to be around family members, because something like this happened and you knew it happened. You didn't protect me. You know, they give you the finger. I don't have no. You dead to me. Sometimes that's a problem within families too, because you knew so and so beat me, robbed me, or hurt me, but you didn't do anything about it.
That's common. You did to me.
We got to be real with each other. Have accountability.
Raymond Baptiste said, keep it real, accountability.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I got my computer, but I can see the comments. Thank y'all. Yeah, I can finally see it now. I just pulled it up. But, and you have hurt people who hurt people. And I think someone says, so should the family member deal with these issues themselves? I think it has to start there. But, I mean, if you're talking about a critical situation where someone is in danger, if we have to reach out outside of our family home, sometimes it may call for that just to bring safety. So I don't want to be on here saying, oh, no, don't ever call the man. And that'll be a whole different show, is when our people do call on our people, when they call defects and stuff, when they just being spiteful. That's a whole other thing, but that's another topic, because we got that going on among us, too. I don't see some cases like that where you call defects on your own family members to be spiteful when you could have helped them do something. Then you want to cry talking about the system. That's a whole different thing. But when you're talking about sexual assault, you're talking about physical abuse, where it could be dangerous. If we need outside help, then we need outside help. But see, the stronger we are within our family network, and we create our own, you know, what do you call it? Our own, like, forces, or like safety forces within our own communities, then we can be better equipped to handle those things within ourselves. But when there comes to be a real dangerous situation and someone has committed that type of sexual crime, yeah, of course you should. I would never tell you not to do that, because that's not safe. Because safety should be the first thing, especially when you're talking about your children or vulnerable people in your population. It could be an elder who's in a wheelchair. They get it too.
They get it bad too, especially when they get elder there. They get it bad.
But I think the first line of defense is for us to deal with it, and then get back to that village. If you are living in a community within yourselves and you're related, or if you started your own tribal clan, or, you know, you have people in the neighborhood that you can trust, start having that village mentality. Because I know back in the day when me and Mom used to walk down the street, shoot, Miss Arnold, I still remember that lady. God bless her soul. See, everybody used to call her nosy, but I tell you one thing, if you was doing something, she knew about it. And she would tell you to get on home. She said, get on home.
Sound like the cussing lady to me.
Yeah. She tell on you, that's good. That's okay. Or if you got, you know, a rowdy family member, get your brothers and men together. We got to take care of that rowdiness. And it doesn't mean beat them up or something, but hey, just come together and say, hey, man, what's up? What's going on? You know, all of us don't want to be in everybody else's business, but if we know that there's domestic violence, we know these things are going on, sometimes we just have to be brave and have courage to make the step to say, hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
In creating, and I think one of the one thing that we can walk away with tonight is to start to create sacred space where we make it safe, at least among us, that we can talk to each other. And that if there's issues going on, we want to create safe places for our women to speak, vulnerable people in our families, our children, our men too. Men are abused. Sometimes we got men coming out of prison. They ain't been sexually abused in prison. We got all kind of abuse going on.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. I got a brother here that's been through it, and he's been a lot of different camps, and he wants to be
Okay.
We're gonna let him talk about that.
Yeah. So that's like I say, I know it's kind of getting late, and I do have some stuff I need to finish up to get some emails out, believe it or not. But I just wanted to hope that we can continue this series, and that we just get closer and closer to what healing looks like for ourselves. We define it. Let's define our own healing. Creating sacred space, creating safety zones where we feel safe enough within our families to talk about certain things, having a meeting at the family fire circle. I used to do a thing with my children where we have a notebook that you can write. If you was too afraid to say it to me, you can write it in the notebook. And that notebook will be in a safe place, and I will go and read it, and then I will write you a note back. I used to do that with my children, too. Like, we had a family diary. I would write, you write to me something, and I'll answer you back, or you could write me a letter, and I'll write you a letter back. Those are just things just to get us, kind of breaking up,
breaking that, yeah.
Dysfunction, breaking up, whatever works for you. But just the goal is it's increasing our humanity within ourselves and for ourselves. And be willing to walk with each other.
And be willing to walk with each other. So,
yep.
When we gonna get to see you again so we can continue this?
Because this is, I believe, and especially if your listening audience feels that this is an important topic, I've been feeling it very strong in my spirit for a while. So I won't have any reason or any problem dedicating a night a week. If you guys just want to meet on a Friday Eve, I don't have a problem just coming out.
Sounds
and
good to me. Good 9 o'clock
I've been
sounds
looking
good
forward
to
to
you.
your feedback. It's fine for me, and let's just keep it going until we just have some real solid action steps that we can walk away with.
I'm with it.
And then I'm open for questions as well. And if we need to create a healing panel, we can do that too. There's so many creative things that we can do. There is some good things that we can do with the internet and stuff, is that we can be more accessible to each other in different places. But if there are people in the Georgia area, and you have, social issues and things like that, you can call us and we can try to help as much as we can. We are seeing like we're getting more volunteers coming in to the nation to help, and people who are qualified to help with therapy and things like that. So I'm pretty excited about that. But whatever action steps that we can come up with, I just think it'll be good for us to do. And I don't have any problem with coming back and, let's just do this little series for as long as we think we need it.
Awesome. I'm with it. So you want to say anything to the people before we leave?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate the time, and I'm hoping that you all were able to walk away with some good things that we talked about. And some of it I know is painful too, and pain is okay, but don't, if anybody you're gonna be honest with yourself. Be honest with you. You're hurting, then you're hurting. It's okay. My hurt comes out through poetry. So I gotta write poetry. What do you need is to find, we'll talk about that next week. What are some ways that we can find positive ways of, letting our pain and frustration out where it's not hurtful to ourselves or hurtful to someone else.
So if you have any questions, you can send them my way. I can get them to them. We can address them. Or don't be afraid to put them in the chat. We will be looking forward to seeing you next Friday, Chief.
Okay,
I know I'm going to talk to you probably every day before then, but I know everyone is excited to hearing from you again. We thank you. We thank you a lot for coming out.
Thank you.
And I will talk to you later. Thank you a lot.
All right.
I think it's a show. Our show.
All right. Our show. Our show. Okay, peace. Peace to the family.
All right, peace. Everyone, I want to say thank you very much for coming out. Thank you, Raymond Baptiste. Thank you very much. Been working very hard to make sure we can get this going. As you heard, we're working to get this to going as long as we need to. So please share and let everyone know that we're here and what we're doing and what we're working on. We have Redman tomorrow. Redman tomorrow. We have Chief Redman tomorrow. A lot of people know about Chief Redman. He will be on tomorrow. Pamela, no problem, Pamela. Thank you for coming out. Jamil, peace, brother. That poster on the that you got of my map down in Texas on your wall. That frame is dope. Thanks a lot for support. What else we got? Raymond, Jamil, Pamela. Thank you all again. And like I said, I'm out here in Jones. Oh yeah, we're doing weekends in Jones. I might run 7 days a week. I have a great team behind me. It makes me feel good when I work with them. They out here getting this done. And y'all haven't even met everybody yet. That's the exciting part about it. We have people dedicated and that's helping with us every day. It's been in and out with us every day this week. Right now we have the studio is going up, y'all. The broadcasting studio is going up. All right, Jay. Thanks, Jay. We will be back tomorrow. I need to get a bill with you, Jay. I enjoyed talking with you as well. I'm working on it. So I want to end this. I want to tell everybody thank you again for coming out. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night. Sleep well. And peace. Oh, y'all know I got to go out with my song. So y'all know it. You can cut it off or whatever, but I'm going to go out playing my song. We got beats coming from Zay Pro, Chicago. Just a little outro, you know. Good tune. Also, before I go, that is the Coosa flag that you see on the top right of your screen. That is